My thanks to Bring Me to Life Radio, and welcome to the Cinema Scribe. When all seems lost, we're left with little to hold on to. Whether we're faced with dilemmas in romance, finances, vocation, or health, we can easily become despondent when the problems appear overwhelming with no way out. At times like this, we have to grasp for anything that will help to anchor us in the face of such despair, as seen in the new Norwegian domestic drama, Hope. The holidays are supposed to be a time of hope, joy, and fellowship with family and friends, and most of us look to that time of year to see those aspirations fulfilled. However, when an unexpected crisis intrudes, it can send shockwaves through the celebration, affecting all involved. So it is for the blended family of longtime partners Anya, played by Andrea Hovig, and Thomas, played by Stellan Skarsgård. When Anya begins having recurring headaches and vision problems, she visits her doctor, who orders tests that, regrettably, come up with a devastating diagnosis. From all indications, Anya appears to have developed a malignant, incurable brain tumor, one that metastasized from the lung cancer she was treated for and thought cured of a year earlier. And, given her physician's preliminary prognosis, she has little time left. Not the kind of news that one wants to receive at any time, but especially during the Christmas season. Needless to say, Anya is distraught, as is Thomas, but not necessarily for the reasons one might think. Even though the couple has been together for many years and are bonded as the biological parents of 3 of the blended family's 6 children, a pronounced distance has been opening up between them for quite a long time. As a talented choreographer, Anya has established a noteworthy reputation for herself, having recently put on her first international production in Amsterdam. Thomas, meanwhile, has built a notable track record as a theatrical producer, with work staged all over Europe, a slate of projects that has kept him on the road and away from his native Oslo much of the time. Their careers have thus come first, leading to a marked detachment between them. Given this growing separation between them, Anya can't help but wonder how that will figure into the new crisis they now face. Will Thomas be there for her? What's more, considering how things have been going, does she even want him there for her if his heart's not in it? The last thing she wants to deal with is some semblance of forced, guilt-driven pity on his part. Thomas, by contrast, realizes that he hasn't always been as supportive as he could have been, letting work take precedence over his relationship. But now, as an awareness of what he's about to lose sets in, he begins to feel a sense of regret, both for his failings as a devoted partner and for past infidelities. He thus sees this development as an opportunity to make up for oversights. That is, if she'll let him. That's perhaps most challenging when he suggests that they take the one step that they've been putting off during their time together, getting married. Perhaps Anya's biggest concern is how to broach the news of her illness with her family, especially during what is supposed to be the most festive time of the year. She wrestles with how to address the subject, torn between shielding the children's feelings and being able to unburden herself of a secret that she's having increasing difficulty containing. And, as much as she would rather not admit it, she also struggles with guilt over the varying degree of concern she holds for her own children compared to her 3 stepchildren from Thomas's former marriage. She clearly has a preference for comforting her own offspring, despite the undeniable care she feels for the others. But how can she be expected to resolve circumstances like these with so much else that's going on? And then there's her declining health, something she obviously can't escape. She struggles with the side effects of her new medication, most notably insomnia and intense nervousness, as well as her growing anxiety about the severity of her condition as the reality sinks in. The inconsistent treatment she receives from a bureaucratic healthcare system that subjects her to ever more tests and sometimes leaves her in limbo as she awaits word on what comes next, only adds to the mix. This, combined with all the other challenges she's facing, leave her with a plate full of worry and uncertainty at a time when it's unclear how much time she has left and what that time will be like. Under conditions like this, it's hard to have any hope. But sometimes, that's all we've got. Situations such as this are often characterized as being those where everyone involved hopes for the best but prepares for the worst. That can be a rather tall order to satisfy, given the disparate nature of the possible outcomes that could result. Accommodating such extremes calls for thinking outside the box, given that what could eventually happen goes beyond the range of expectations typically associated with most health-related matters. Indeed, extreme outcomes call for extreme measures to deal with them. Devising the means for addressing these circumstances requires us to conceive such measures using all the wherewithal at our disposal. But bringing them into being calls for more than just designing what we need. It also necessitates believing in the ability to do so. And in an existence characterized by extreme conditions, as here, we often have to expand the range of resources we employ in materializing the measures for addressing them. That's where thinking outside the box comes into play in this scenario. It applies to everyone involved, too, the doctors providing care, Thomas as a compassionate, sincere caregiver, Anya as the patient seeking the means for healing her circumstances, and Anya's family and friends as providers of loving support. What's more, all the potential survivors in this situation must prepare for what might happen if Anya should succumb to her illness, as the nature of their reality would be radically shifted in her absence. It would seem everyone has his or her work cut out for them. This healthcare crisis is further complicated by the ancillary circumstances associated with it, namely the emotional meltdown going on between Anya and Thomas. While that situation has been unfolding for some time, its severity has certainly been exacerbated by this latest development. The timetable for the couple achieving closure has suddenly drastically shrunk, and if they hope to reach resolution, they'll need to move fast, and at a time when their plates have suddenly been loaded up with much more than they've previously had to contend with. What's more, the weight of emotions involved in this has also swelled dramatically in light of the magnitude of the circumstances now prevailing. In many ways, Anya and Thomas are being asked to multitask their efforts at coming up with solutions for dealing with all the various conditions they now face. To their benefit, Anya and Thomas have ample support available to them. This truly is a collaborative endeavor, with each participant playing a vital role. By focusing their attention on what's necessary to fulfill their respective obligations, they have a greater chance of manifesting what's required to make the situation work out for the best. For example, the team of doctors can play their part by devising the most efficacious treatment plan for their patient. Anya can best help her cause by focusing on healing in all its forms, a lead that Thomas should follow too. And the couple's children and good friends can most effectively aid Anya by sending her warm, supportive vibes for her recovery. In collaborations like this, individuals might not always believe they're making meaningful contributions, because their input might seem small and insignificant. However, when all of that input is combined, it creates a powerful force, one capable of working wonders greater than any of them can fathom by themselves. And that's what fuels hope. Still, even when armed with an optimistic outlook, the parties involved in a scenario like this must maintain a realistic perspective as well. Even if one is able to fix a dire situation, there's no guarantee that the solution will be permanent. Of course, even if the repair is only fleeting, that's still something to be proud of. Successes may flicker out of existence as quickly as a glimmer of a firefly, but they nevertheless embody the brilliance of creation, even if only temporarily. It's in those momentary instances when we see the power of manifestation revealed, and that's something we should never lose sight of. The point of power is in the present moment, And we must remember that, whether we're seeking to create something as simple as an evening meal or as grand as a cure for a terminal illness. And that too should give us hope that what we seek can indeed be made possible, no matter how enduring or transitory it might be. A crisis can change a relationship overnight, as is the case for the couple depicted here. The ordeal offers them an opportunity for reconciliation and redemption, but most of all, it affords the possibility for the rebirth of much-needed hope. In this case, it's a difficult process, full of revelations, the surfacing of brutal honesty, and the rekindling of romantic feelings that have long been sidelined by other pursuits. But it somehow finds a way. Norwegian writer-director Maria Sodal's third feature explores what this couple undergoes when faced with such trying circumstances, a story effectively brought to life by the film's insightful screenplay and the fine performances of Hovig and Skarsgård. While the picture can be a heartbreaking watch, it also illustrates that when there's life, there's hope, a sentiment aptly and succinctly reflected in this offering's simple but appropriate title. The film is available in limited theatrical screenings and for streaming online. Nothing lasts forever, or as the Buddhists might put it, there is impermanence in everything. But for every moment of existence, there is an inherent viability in what manifests in that point of power, one marked by an intrinsic beauty of its own. It can occur at any time, too, even when the likelihood of successful materialization seems less probable. However, as long as hope remains, coupled with the faith we place in it, there's no telling what might arise. And the possibility of that is worth pinning our hope on, especially when we consider the alternative. I'm Brent Marchant, the Cinema Scribe. Thanks for listening.
A lifelong movie fan and longtime student of metaphysics, cinema scribe Brent Marchant is the award-winning author of Get the Picture, Conscious Creation Goes to the Movies, Consciously Created Cinema, The Movie Lover's Guide to the Law of Attraction, and Third Reel, Conscious Creation Goes Back to the Movies, all of which provide reader-friendly looks at how the practice of conscious creation, also known as the Law of Attraction, is illustrated through film. Brent maintains an ongoing blog about metaphysical cinema and other self-empowerment topics through his website, www.brentmarchant.com. He's also the movie correspondent for the Good Radio Network and a contributor to numerous other websites, publications, and podcasts. Brent holds a BA in magazine journalism and history from Syracuse University. Check him out at www.brentmarchant.com.